Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody. This week we're talking about the integumentary system. Essentially, it's your skin, and you've got the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. The epidermis is the outermost layer and is made up of five distinct layers. All of the cells of the epidermis, except for those in the stratum basal, are keratinocytes. These cells produce the protein keratin, which gives these cells their rigidity once hardened or keratinized, as well as providing hair and fingernails with their strength and color. The first layer of the epidermis is the stratum corneum, which is Latin for horny layer. It's composed of sheets of dead keratinocytes in the form of squamous epithelium, and these make up the layer that's pushed off throughout the day, and this makes way for fresh new cells to move in and take their place. The stratum lucidum is also composed of a few layers of dead keratinocytes, but this layer is only present in the parts of your skin considered thick skin, which can be found on the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. Any other layer without this lucidum is called thin skin. The stratum granulosum appears grainy under the microscope because this layer is abundant with living keratinocytes that are producing large amounts of keratin. The nuclei and membranes slowly dissolve away as these cells die, leaving behind the keratin, a protein called keratohyalin which binds keratin, and the membranes which will form together to create the stratum lucidum. The stratum spinosum is named this because of its spiny appearance, which is an artifact of staining and not a natural characteristic. This spiny appearance occurs at the cell's desmosomes, or junctions, where the cells meet and form a strong bond. This layer also contains Langerhans cells, which are a type of macrophage which fights off bacteria and eats away foreign bodies and dead cells. The final layer of the epidermis, the stratum basal, which connects to the basal lamina and gives way to the beginning of the dermis. This layer is made up of cuboidal basal cells, which are stem cells that give rise to the keratinocytes in the upper layers of the skin. A dermal papilla protrudes from the surface of the dermis and creates a strong bond between it and the stratum basal. In this layer, you can also find Merkel cells, which function as sensory cells to relay messages to the nervous system, and melanocytes, which produce the pigment melanin. Moving on to the dermis has two layers, each made of connective tissue and containing large amounts of elastin and collagen, and is home to lymph and blood vessels, sebaceous glands, sweat glands, hair follicles, and nerves. The first layer is the papillary layer, which is made of loose areolar connective tissue, and this means the collagen and elastin form a loose mesh. This is the layer that forms the dermal papilla and grabs onto the basal layer of the epidermis. This layer is composed of fibroblasts, a small number of adipocytes, and an abundance of blood vessels. There are also touch sensors in this layer known as minor couples. The reticular layer is composed of dense, irregular connective tissue and contains lots of nervous tissue. It is called the reticular layer because it is arranged in a net-like pattern, giving it a reticulated appearance. Elastin and collagen provide a combination of rigidity and flexibility, which allows for safe movement, with collagen fibers that extend through the dermis into the basal layer of the epidermis, as well as the lower layer, the hypodermis. The collagen in this layer also binds to water in order to provide hydration for the surrounding area. The final lowest layer is the hypodermis. This is the innermost layer, also known as the subcutaneous layer or the superficial fascia. It is constructed of loose areolar connective tissue as well as fatty adipose tissue, which helps insulate body heat and store energy. This serves as the main connection between the layers of skin and the muscle and bone underneath. The border between the hypodermis and the dermis can be difficult to distinguish, and overall the hypodermis is not strictly considered a part of the skin.